Episode 44 of Clips and Dip. I am Chuck Mockler, joined by Will Updike. Adam Osland is working for AM 570 right now. We are live from the press box after the game on YouTube. If you're listening to this, thanks for listening. If you're watching, you're getting it live. The Clippers beat the Lakers in a kind of gross game defensively. I don't know. Will, how are you feeling after the Clippers get the dub behind Kawhi's second career triple-double?
A win is a win. I think the team petered out a little bit in the second half. Defensively, it wasn't quite what we've come to expect. This wasn't the Clippers team that we've seen through December and stretches of January, but still, they were able to get it done. It was an ugly game. They gritted it out. So overall, feeling good. Feeling good. Feel a lot worse if we lost.
Yes, I am too. Oh, we have a secret. We're going to get to some chat comments in a sec. Shout out Jeremy Mormon. But we have a surprise drop-in right now. Who is this? What is going on? Welcome. Whoa, it's Joseph Ryan Ward. How are you?
Hi, everyone. My wife doesn't know I'm on here, so I only have a couple seconds. I just wanted to say the Clippers are now 15-2 when Russell Westbrook plays less than 20 minutes. I was really nervous. I was really nervous that he was going to keep him in there. He pulled him. I knew we were going to win. It was going to be so great.
Well, thank you. Do you have to go now?
No, I can stay for a couple
minutes. All right, cool. Well, so Jeremy Mormon's pointing out a very funny thing. If you watch the game, Russ lost a shoe and then nailed a three and then proceeded to play the next defensive possession without a shoe, but got saved by a whistle. We're going to talk the Clippers defense and stuff like that, which was not very good in this game. We're going to talk Kawhi as well. He was a triple-double, but this was the full Russ experience tonight. Yay or nay? Joseph Ryan Ward.
I mean, other than him actually hitting threes, yes, it was the full Russ experience. It's like you live by it or die by it. I think that the biggest thing that Russ brings, on Clipset, Brian and I used to talk about like the chaos guy.
Yeah.
And we always wanted it to be someone in the mode of like Pat Bev, right? Which is like good to neutral chaos. Whereas with Russ, you're on either end of the spectrum. It's either like you are flying on the highest high or you are flying on the lowest low. And so I think it was really funny. He was like 3 for 3 from deep, but I think he was 1 for 4 at the rim or something like that. So it's just, it's so wild to watch him play. And I think it's this roller coaster that I just don't enjoy the highs and lows of it.
I love the highs. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm here for the highs.
Are great.
Well, he needs the ball so much more than someone in the Pat Bev type of mold that it's right. It's a lot more responsibility. It does get a lot more nerve-wracking. Just due to the sheer fact of that, like off ball, there's not really a whole lot that he can provide. The degree of variability is always going to be very high when the ball is in your hands that much of the time.
Right. I don't want to commandeer your show, but we probably should talk about some of these comments about the bigs and Paul George.
So we should maybe talk. Yeah, let's talk the bigs. And there was some Paul George concern with he got his leg wrapped and then immediately went back out on the court, which gave me a little bit of PTSD. Yeah. But let's talk the Zoo thing. Miles Johnson saying centers have been absolutely brutal since Zoo got hurt. They have been. Mason Plumlee, I give the benefit of the doubt because he came from an injury and then was like, hey, Zoo's out. Yeah. So you need to be playing at maybe your highest level ever to make up for this. So I don't blame him. Tice is Tice, though. I don't know if they've been brutal. I think they've been what they are, which is rough compared to what Zoo was.
It's brutal for the amount of minutes you have to play them without Zoo, right? Like the plan was never for these, like for Mason to be the starting center and for Tice to be a backup to this level, if Plumlee had not gone down. I mean, where are we really right now in Zoo's absence? So, yeah, I agree. It's been really difficult. If you're looking for a light at the end of the tunnel, though, outside of Zoo coming back, I don't really have one for you right now.
When's he coming back? Tell us, Will. When is Zoo coming back? So that is also just to kind of temper people's expectations, I guess. Zoo's reevaluated in 4 weeks from the injury. So I think Zoo's going to be out a total of 6 weeks, would be my guess. If you look at how the All-Star break lines up,
Are we at week 2 right now, or we're like just over 1 week in, right?
I think we're at week 2.
Yeah. Turning the corner into week 2, I think.
Did we? And so from this game specific, we're kissing week 2. And this game specifically, it's kind of funny. Mason Plumlee was a +4 with no points in 20 minutes, which is insane.
Just a rough game for Mace.
Yeah, well, this game, the defense by the Clippers was bad.
Yeah.
For this game, we scored 77 points at half, which was great, but it was 77-64, and that's where you see Zoo's loss. Like, we had so many paint touches on offense, but on defense, it was just like there was nothing to stabilize anybody. Guys were all over the place. It was rough.
It's so funny to me to watch games like tonight and then against the Nets. You can see the guys acting as though Zoo is still back there. So the game plan still seems to be like, okay, if you're beat, it's fine.
Does Kawhi get a triple-double? Does Kawhi get a triple-double if Zoo's there tonight? I do not think so.
Probably not. No.
I don't think he gets the boards. Someone commented like, well, someone's got a rebound for the Clippers. And I was like, that's actually a great point. Like, Kawhi was the best rebounder of anybody.
Are there positives to Zoo being gone?
No, stop.
So says Charles Mockler.
That's not what I'm saying.
Triple-double Kawhi mode activated?
All right, so let's talk PG. Because PG, and then we'll get to Kawhi's greatness. Mike Dang, great last name, said, what's with PG tonight? Did he get benched or was he hurt? Really odd passes from him. The bench thing was weird. It seems like they took him out and then checked on his knee, and then he was right back out there. But this was a rough night.
That doesn't mean much for this Clippers team.
Very
right?
true.
Like,
they reattached his leg.
Yeah, I think if we've learned anything, that a player returning right back out there isn't necessarily a vote of confidence long term.
I feel like, Joseph, is this a stupid idea? Harden was very aggressive to start this game, which was great offensively. It looked like that maybe messed with PG's rhythm a little bit. I think he had 2 shots in the first quarter or something like that. Like he just couldn't find any space.
Yeah, I mean, I think Paul is want to disappear. He is someone who will float away as a game if a game just kind of gets away from him. I do think that the Clippers at various times have made efforts to get Paul going early. And it's been great. He gets going early, but then he disappears late. So I think it's just Paul. I do kind of wonder though, with the whole like closing with Amir Coffey getting a Trez shift, Terrence coming in and out, that there was
shout out Amir, by the way,
a shadow minutes restriction or something. Maybe he's got something nagging, and before the Grammy trip, they didn't want to like push him too hard. I wouldn't put that past the Clippers, but I also wouldn't put it past Paul to have no leg below his knee, go play a game, pretend like he's fine, come back into a game, and then be out, for whatever. So you never know.
Yeah, I guess just something to keep an eye on during the road trip.
Coffey also did play really, really well too. Like, it's not like the decision to me was completely baffling. I thought the Powell lineup with Coffey out there had some great stretches, and Coffey played, I thought, exceptionally.
Amir Coffey is playing Amir Coffey is playing championship level basketball for his role for this team.
Role. Yeah.
Like he's been, and with the offseason he had, and just his overall Clippers career, I think Amir Coffey is maybe my favorite story this year for the Clippers. I like this comment from Miles Johnson. Harden then got super passive in the second half and kind of lost his rhythm. James Harden was on a tear to open this game against the Lakers. But then I think he's kind of right. If you watch this game, that third quarter was the most frustrating I think I've been watching the Clippers this season.
It felt like there was zero paint penetration. It seemed like the only person who was getting to the paint was the only person who can't make layups, which is very problematic for the Clippers.
Yes, that can be bad. What did you notice? Go ahead, Joe.
No, it's the same story against the Lakers. There's never been a normal game against the Lakers. They always go up big, and then they decide, okay, we did our job, and then the Lakers get back into it, and then it's like crazy for a little bit. And it's another roller coaster I'd like off of.
I think in this first half, the Clippers had more points in the paint in that first half than of any half so far this season. And then the defense just was bleeding points to the Lakers in the second half. It was defense. There was at one point there was a 5-on-4 because Cam Reddish got hurt, and the Clippers lost those 2 possessions by 2 points. They would have lost it by 5 after like a really bad PG turnover, but like that was the most brutal thing. I don't know. I'm happy we won though. The Will said it on the pod. Like the Clippers were 10-point favorites for this game, which is like absolutely insane if you actually watch Clippers Lakers any times. But I'm just happy they got the win.
That cashed, right?
Did it cash?
I think they won by 11.
They did. They did. Wow. Will, did you tell your boss to take the under?
I did tell a coworker to take the under. So I might not be on the stream next time.
Good thing I hammered that over.
Yeah. Hey, boss, go ahead and put my next paycheck on that under, baby. So let's talk Kawhi. Kawhi had his second career triple-double, the quietest triple-double in the history of the Clippers, I think. He was fantastic, 25, 11, and 10, plus 2 steals and a block, plus 15 in this game. Joseph or Will, who wants to talk how great Kawhi was this night? A stabilizing presence for a horrific game from that standpoint.
Well, I'm just going to give something brief because I have to.
No, Joseph, give us some positivity.
Trying to, break down the door so that I come back. I'm going against my wife and my doctor's wishes. He said, you can't go on any more podcasts and talk about the Clippers.
Your ticker can't take it.
It's bad. Yeah. Kawhi is awesome. The whole season rests.
I like it.
On Kawhi's shoulders. And he has carried the team since that's true. I did say that. He has carried the team since the lineup change. And I think that it coincides with the lineup change, but also Kawhi rounding into shape. That's
a triple double is killing me. Thank you, Stress. A triple double. Wow, that is so funny.
He only shot left-handed all night. I think that
wish he would have gone for 20, 20, and 20.
I just love watching him play, and like he does things that are dumb, but he's Kawhi and it works. Like when he went up against Reeves and like turned around and then split the defenders and then kind of just flung it at the rim with one hand and then it bounced 6 times and went in. It's just when he's on, the Clippers can win a title.
Yeah, I agree. I would have liked to see the Clippers take advantage from outside a little bit more when Kawhi was getting those super aggressive double teams.
Yeah, that's a good call. Do you have to leave now, Joseph?
I do actually have to leave.
All right,
Thanks,
thank you so much, Joseph. We'll see you later, bud. I want to talk about Reeves on Kawhi. There were some times where I was like, I didn't know Reeves could maybe lock Kawhi up like this. So we do have to get a little bit of credit to Austin Reeves for some of his defense on Kawhi. But I think Joseph nailed it, right? Like Kawhi, we talked about how Kawhi and PG are averaging, basically the same points per game. It's like 22.8 and 22.9 or something. But
it just looks very different.
Exactly. And that's how the triple-double sneaks up on you. Kawhi was wildly efficient. I think he hit his first 8 shots in this game or something like that. He ended up 11 for 16. The lack of foul calls in this game for the Clippers was insane down low. I don't know what the refs were doing in this game.
It was overall a slow whistle on both sides. Like, neither team really spent a lot of time in the bonus in this one, but I agree. There was, I think that's what led to some of the issues with the paint penetration in that in the second half is like there was a lot of contact there. Not going to say whether it was like right or wrong, especially, but I do think that it made guys a little bit more tentative to go there.
Yeah, I totally agree. And the Clippers defense didn't even really give the refs like a chance to try and draw the line because there was no real defense kind of in the paint in this one. Yeah, I'm still kind of just trying to – I know we won the game, and I know Kawhi was fantastic. Mike, dang. Yeah, go ahead, Will.
I feel like we got to talk about Norm Powell too, because I thought when the offense really stalled out there to start the fourth, how long was it until we got our second field goal of that quarter? Like it was like a 4 minute stretch.
Yeah.
And Norm was able to kind of turn things around and get things going. He finished with 17. 5-2, just a great game, 57% from the floor. Only hit one of his threes, which is really, really uncharacteristic. 1 of 4 for Norm.
And that 3 came in the fourth. He was 1 for 2 in the fourth. He hit his 3 other shots at the rim. Norm hit a layup when this game was pretty much out of hand. That was the most.
It was like a hook. It was a half hook.
He went like this, and it went real high off the glass and then right back in. So you got to appreciate Norm Powell tonight. Joseph Ryward, who was just on here, mentioned that the Clippers might be trying to trade Norman Powell. I hope that doesn't happen. I do not think that's happening because they just can't do it. But yeah, this Clippers team. This is a game, and I know we said this last game. Did they lose this game last year? Did they let what happened in the third quarter seep even more into the fourth? And do they? This was a different. Look, this was a different team win. I liked it that we got the win.
Look, I mean, it depends. Like if we get the sort of like the insane role player step up sort of wins that we came accustomed to in the year before last season, like maybe they put it away, maybe they're able to do it. If it is 2-1-3 at the level that we saw last year, no James Harden, that's definitely a loss. Like I don't know, especially with Paul kind of having an off night. That's not a game that they can put away without an extra guy.
Yeah, exactly. An extra guy, and without the contributions we got from everyone on the bench tonight. We talked to Russ and Norm and Amir and stuff like that. Yeah, I don't know. What was kind of – this is just – it's a good win. The Clippers have an insane road trip. I'm happy they got this win.
11 games.
Wait, it's an 11-game road trip?
I thought it was 11 games.
I think it's 7. If it's 11, I'm quitting. I don't know what I'm doing. Let's talk the other team because we do have to talk about the other side of the ball in this one.
Yeah.
Anthony Davis, 26-12. D'Angelo Russell, 27 and 10 assists. I think someone put in the chat that you called. Yeah. We got a comment from Wami who said, Will literally called D'Angelo going off for no reason.
That's the kind of player he is.
His name's been in trade rumors. Like he kind of shows up for Clippers games. It feels like I thought this in the third quarter. I thought this was going to be, D'Angelo Russell's going to ruin our night tonight. Type of thing.
I appreciate him. He's my high numbers, low impact king.
I think that's fair. He was -7 in this game.
No, I've loved that about him since when he went to the Nets.
We didn't have really an answer. The defense on D'Angelo Russell was a little frustrating. We didn't really have an answer for AD. Obviously, no real bigs or anything like that. They did their best to pull him away, and the mid-range jumpers, we got a couple. There's children playing basketball on the court by us. Sorry about that, everyone listening. But no, just the size thing was on full display here. We had some comments too talking about just the size, right? Like this small ball lineup. How are we feeling about this ramp up in small ball minutes? Do you think that this will sustain itself? Do you think we're going to see this when Zoo's back?
No.
You think it's just the spell for the next? It's such a big chunk of time. Is the only reason I'm wondering.
Look, I think there might be stretches for sure, and there are matchups where it could be advantageous. But I think the most numbers aside, the craziest thing about Zoo's change this year is the level of trust that he has in closing lineups, and it just adds another layer to what the Clippers can do defensively. And I'm not saying that it's going to work in the playoffs against every team. Or in every night, but I think that is really significant, and it just makes the most sense to have him as your defensive anchor out there whenever you possibly can. And with the pickup offensively that the added value offensively that James Harden adds for Zoo, it mitigates really like what negatives you would have to him being on the floor, right? Like, that's the biggest thing is like, what does it do to the offense? Is he getting blown by guys, which he's been passed for a while now. We've seen him in the playoffs even be passed, like, that first, Warriors series in the Shea years when he looked completely lost out there. So
yeah, his growth is, I'm excited for just to see what he does in the playoffs this year. There is some news coming out about Paul George's groin injury. Left groin injury from last month is being managed by the team, per Ty Lue. This quote below is from La Murray, an excellent reporter. And a quick aside, while this announcer yells behind me, if you're able to show love to Andrew Greif or anything like that, give him a shout out on Twitter. Andrew Greif was laid off by the LA Times. It's horrible for journalism, horrible for the Clippers beat. So anyway, shout out Andrew Greif and everyone who got laid off for the Times today. It's just brutal.
An amazing beat writer, but
Eric Bui confused in the comments about Paul George's groin. He said, "I didn't realize PG was making passes with his groin. Maybe he should try them with his hands." Hey, fair point, Eric. We're not gonna knock that guidance. But the Paul George groin thing, what's your level of concern with this? He had a wrap on his knee. No one's making it sound like anything too serious, which I don't think is super surprising. Scale of 1 to 10, where are you at?
Well, until we get further news, I mean, it's kind of a 5. Like, there's some level of concern, but it's fairly neutral. I just hope it doesn't have to be exacerbated over these road games. I mean, there were some things tonight, like execution-wise, where, I mean, they were subbing Paul in and out to manage the injury, of course, but like they shouldn't have needed him. You know what I mean? They shouldn't have had to rely on him as much in this game in a normal scenario. But like Joseph said, there's no normal scenario between these two teams anytime they meet up. It's very, very bizarre. It's odd it's odd what things to take away from it. Like Clippers season high in paint points. Like, how real is that against like a large team? No LeBron is that something that they could exploit against another team? But then they completely, it looked completely different in the second half. So I don't know.
DJ Dance is calling a hell of a pickup game behind us. So Paul George, for this road trip you mentioned, the Clippers go...
It is 7 games, not 11. Either. My bad.
No worries. The Clippers go Raptors, Celtics, Cavs, Wizards, Pistons, Heat, Hawks. So pretty top-heavy to start. You got new-look Raps, who we know are going to run us. We're going to run. You got the Celtics, you got the Cavs. It gets a little easier with that Wizards-Pistons stretch in there, but this is... I hope his groin's not put too much to the test. A lot of people are in the chat.
Put the groin to the test.
I don't want him to. A lot of people are saying that this game showed the size issue for the Clippers. The game is not worth this much commentary. Would you, once Sue is back, people in the chat, does your concern for another big go away? Because I think games like this, we're going to have 4 weeks of no Zoo at least. I think we're going to maybe get conditioned to thinking this team is smaller than it is. Will, I'll go to you while people form their thoughts in the chat. But when Zoo comes back, do you think the Clippers still need another power forward?
I mean, it's like one of those nice to haves. It just...
I like Jeremy Mormon's very blunt response.
I don't really think it's necessary. I'm feeling really good about this roster. Like I think like a little marginal move or something, but I think the idea of like a more dynamic 4, I mean, you're not getting someone like even like an Aaron Gordon level. I mean, I think someone like...
I would love an Aaron Gordon level guy.
I mean, you're not, I mean, I'm just saying you're definitely not getting that. Yeah, I don't know. I think like a marginal move makes sense. I think with the way this season has gone thus far, I'm feeling even less comfortable with giving up the 2030 pick.
Oh, yeah. That would have to be...
Which is, I mean, unless Norm is going out, the biggest thing you have to offer of value. And if Norm is going out, you need... So now you're talking about a 4 who's a solid defender and also like a light-up scorer.
Yeah.
Like I'm sorry. I'm just not seeing it out there. If we could have it, would I love it? Yeah, of course. That'd be great.
Yeah, I would. Hey, Mike Dang proposed PJ Bones plus fillers for our old buddy John Collins. I don't think it would work, but I guess I would take that.
If it's no pick, sure.
Yeah. Someone also mentioned something about the minutes. Like, oh, here we go. Radizi Entertainment says, if Clips add a power forward, whose minutes are going away? IMO, this team's healthy is best case scenario. I think I'm with Radizi Entertainment here. Like, this team, Norm's playing. You go down the roster, find a guy who's playing real minutes who's not playing well right now. Like,
yeah, I mean, I think
kind of impossible.
I think if you could get, not even an all-star level player, but a rung below, like a legit fourth option. Maybe that would bump Terrence out of the lineup, but like I said, I don't know that that's really necessary. If Terrence's production right now is the single thing that's holding this Clippers team back from like a deep playoff run, then we got some issues, man. We got some real issues there.
Yeah. Chizong said, I'm not really trying to send out any first round picks with the age of this core.
I agree.
Ding.
That's where I'm at. And that's going to be a huge hamper in any maneuverings that the Clippers can do. Is like, it's not like we're playing poorly. Like we're not so desperate that we need to give up the 2030. And look, man, 2030 is just, that's a long time away. That's a long time away. And even, you could try to protect the hell out of the pick, and so it's less of like a real first rounder, but I don't know how much value that really offers then in terms of trade value. So, would it be nice? Yeah. Do I see it as a realistic possibility? Not today, January 23rd, 2024.
I like Jeremy Mormon's idea. Trade the 2030 pick, top 29 protected.
Absolutely.
I also, just a note for the listeners and people watching, it is not small children playing basketball. There are grown men playing basketball right now.
Against children.
On the court. Against children. Miles Johnson says, we only really have 2 forwards with 5 guards with the current rotation.
So it would also, a consolidation move would make sense, but like what 2 guards do you want to part with for a forward?
Right, and it's not going to be Russ. They're not trading Russell Westbrook. For the locker room, there's no way they're trading Russell Westbrook. It would be mutiny if the Clippers traded.
I don't know that it would be mutiny, but
Paul George needs his buddy, and I mean that but Paul George needs Russell Westbrook.
They didn't re-sign Pat Patterson.
Yeah, but Pat was
less. What's Pat? Chopped liver?
Yes, in this scenario, yes. This I don't know, and I the top 8 and the top 9 is so good right now for the Clips. Someone's saying Boston and Highland. Brandon Boston Jr. I'm fine with parting with. I don't think he has a future for the Clippers. No disrespect to him. He hasn't cracked the rotation yet. It's just not there. Bones Highland I want to keep.
Yeah, this is going to sound nuts, but I know that he's not even in the rotation right now. I've talked about this a little bit before. I don't think that means that he is out. With the age of this team, I think, I don't know, unless you're going in for the ultimate win now move, which would be, I don't know, like Jeremy Grant or something. Like, I don't really
That'd
know.
Be huge.
Like, unless it's like a really big acquisition, which, I mean, with salary cap stuff, who even knows how that would work out? I don't know. I would prefer to hold on to Highlands, even though he's not currently in the rotation.
Yeah, great teammate too. Great locker room guy so far. Scott Tran says Bones and PJ Tucker are the only tradable pieces. I think you're right.
PJ Tucker is not tradable. He's a salary filler, but he still has an extra year. He's not even an expiring. So like you have to sweeten the deal to get a team to take on bad money.
We talked about that in terms of sweetening the deal with PJ Tucker. That's where you get into territory of like maybe Amir has to go out because Amir's overplaying his $4 million contract, and that would suck.
Yeah.
Or Bones, because Bones is at what, 6 or 5 or something. So I think there were rumors that the Wizards would maybe take on PJ to buy him out and stuff, but we'd have to take on like Landry Shamet. For the most part, like, I don't know. A name that's been really popular that JJ the Boy brought up is Dorian Finney-Smith.
I would love DFS.
You're part of the DFS army. They are out in full support for getting him onto the Clippers.
No, he's a perfect role player, championship kind of level wing. That, if he doesn't have a huge role, I don't think that's an issue for him, and he could slot in pretty well.
Damn. So Bones makes $2.3 million this year, and then $4 million next year. So Bones is even hard to trade because it's just such little money. Chizong again. Shout out Chizong. I don't think we're getting DFS for anything.
I agree 100%. I agree 100%. It's going to be a buyer's market for a player like that.
We got to get the Eric B on here. Yeah, the Kelly Olynyk talk. You had a good point about the Terry Rozier trade in relation to the Kelly Olynyk trade.
Oh yeah, I mean, like if the cost for if the cost was for Rozier was essentially a first round pick, and not only were the Hornets willing to give up Rozier, but they would take on bad money. I don't think the Jazz are getting a first round pick unless it's like crazy protections for Kelly Olynyk, which I know has been like sort of the thing floating around, and I'm sure that's like what Ainge wants. I don't think you're going to get that.
Ainge wants a first in like 6 seconds for Kelly Olynyk would be my guess.
Somebody asked about the value of our seconds, and I would say those are sweeteners in a deal. You know,
what are the value of any seconds? Like,
yeah.
No disrespect to the question at all. I genuinely have no idea. We got 4 when we traded for Luke Kennard. Chunk Sampson. I would argue Chunk Sampson.
Goat name.
Goat name. Clips and Dip live stream goat as well. He thinks Bones, Terrence, and PJ Washington plus Kawhi, PG, and Harden is a solid core for the next 4 to 5 years. A lot of Clippers fans want PJ Washington too. These are assets. It's not like you can't get anything for them if it doesn't work out. I think I like this idea.
I'm just gonna say this right now.
Yeah.
If they open Intuit Dome and they retain all 3 of Kawhi, PG, and Harden, the idea of flipping anyone is gone. I'm sorry. Like they're gonna ride that into the sunset. And so if the Clippers can't get it done in the next year or two, I'm sorry, but you need to be prepared for just thinking about the glory days for a couple of years.
Well, at that point we'll have the chip. We'll have that championship we're looking at, so that'll be good. Chai Zong said those seconds are about as valuable as PG's ability to sling groin passes. I think that's maybe fair. Not 0, but not enough. I think that's fair. Yeah, we talked a little bit too about the Paul George contract, but I think we're all kind of that's going to get figured out. I think they're going to be able to negotiate down from the max,
especially if he's got a groin injury. I'm
lowballing. No pun intended, folks. All
right, we should get out of here. I'm just kidding.
All right. Well, we got like 10, 15 more minutes. Yeah, man. I'm still. Yeah, this was a good win. I'm happy we finally got the win. Not finally. It's been pretty good for the last 6 years or so. But that's a frustrating game. I'm bummed we didn't get to see kind of LeBron play just because I wanted to see both these teams full strength and whatnot. Still don't feel good about seeing them. I don't feel like horrible, but Adam, our other host, who again is working on AM 570 right now. If you want to go listen to him, he would be worried about the Lakers in a first round series, and I think that's fair. It's not really home court advantage for the Clippers. It's a size issue. We know that other team shows up more for the playoffs. I would not feel comfortable in a first-round matchup. I think we would win still and be favorites, but I would not be comfortable about it.
It would be an annoying matchup, especially with how historically close these teams have played. It wouldn't be a fun one. It also, like, we were talking about this the other day, like, your home court advantage has to mean something, right? Or it's not really a truly home court advantage. Like it's great that you can be at home and
literally just at home.
Yeah, and like from the arena to your house in 30 minutes or whatever. But if you don't have the crowd, which this is the only stadium in all of the NBA where that could be the case, where like despite being at home, you're not really the home team.
I do want to we should give a shout out. 207 tonight at Staples was great. Shout out to the Clippers fans who were here. It was a real battle fan wise, but the Clippers fans really showed up. They were awesome for that Thunder game too. Here's an interesting one. Is Isaiah Stewart attainable from Detroit? He would be perfect. I don't know if we need a fourth center.
Aren't they pretty tied on him? I know he's like one of the few prospects that people actually love.
I think Detroit's ready to trade everybody, except for Cade, maybe. I don't know. What his contract? What's he make?
Talking about this Paul George groin injury thing, do we see him suit up against the Celtics in Boston, which is the game after they play the Raptors?
Ooh. That's in. Sorry, I'm just pulling up the schedule right here. That's in 4 days. Yeah, I think he'll play against Boston.
Raptors, by the way, who we play on Friday, if I'm not mistaken. Friday, have lost their last 3 straight. So
Don't like that.
Not a great position for the Clippers.
I really don't like that. Should we let Russ play with one shoe on to prove his outside shot? Yeah or nay?
I see no reason not to. 100%.
Yeah, let's keep Russ comfortable. I don't know. Anything else you want to get down? Someone saying Grandpa LeBron. Very funny. Was he in the building tonight? I didn't see him. Beef Stew is making $5.2 million. Do we have anyone young and good enough to give What does
Detroit want? Do they want players? Do they just want picks? They've been so good at drafting. I don't know why they wouldn't want them.
You know who encapsulates Detroit basketball spirit to a T? PJ Tucker. He would be a great culture piece for them. Let's go ahead and trade PJ Tucker.
He could turn that thing around instantly.
Yeah. Here we go.
All you need is a vet.
Gregarious1 says, would we announce a PG extension before making a trade? Ooh, I don't know if they would, but that is something interesting to look at for Clippers fans. That's a great take, Gregarious1. Keep an eye on that. Let's keep an eye because Lawrence Frank has said what? He's going to do his due diligence, which is kind of what he says every single time. I don't know if they'd announce it. I don't know if they'd make a trade before signing PG.
I just think it's.
I like the question a lot.
I like the question. I don't think those two things are related.
Interesting.
I don't think the trade market and PG's extension are
the trades that the Clippers would make, unless it's like a huge swing.
It just doesn't matter for this year, right? And that's what the Clippers need to be focused on. They need to be focused on this year because chances are, more likely than not, you're not getting this many games out of Kawhi and Paul George again. And I'm sorry, but you're probably not getting this many. The percentage that they've played, that they've been available this year. Not to mention that you don't even have Harden locked up for sure next season. It needs to be about this year. So I don't think any trade factors in at all to what Paul George's extension is going to be. I really think they're kicking the can down the road even on what it's going to look like contract-wise if they are able to retain their big three. Kawhi was the first domino to fall, and we were lucky to have him take less than what he, theoretically could have gotten. But I expect the Clippers to hold pretty firm in their idea of not expending max money.
Yeah, I think that's
and not because
they can't. Yeah,
not because Paul George isn't worth max money, but it's just not in the cards. I don't know. I just don't think that can work financially to keep a competitive team together.
That's good. We got a couple questions here. X-Mongo Project. How likely is it that we're making a trade this season? Not as likely as last year or the year before that, but not zero,
I would be shocked if there wasn't something, a margins move, even just getting PJ Tucker off the roster for somebody who could come in and eat up 5 fouls. You know what I mean? I would be kind of surprised. Yeah, I would be kind of surprised if there was nothing. Do I think that it's going to be another home run trade? Not today. Not today. On January 23rd. I think that we've already done the biggest mid-season trade of the season for the Clippers, and it just happened to happen much earlier, which is actually a benefit. So
that's a good call. Great question here from David Nagy. Which team currently in the top 8 of the West do you think would be the easiest first-round matchup? For those of you wondering, the Clippers are sitting at 4th. Their current matchups for the top 8 would be between the Pels, Suns, Kings, and Mavericks. Fuck, man. I don't like any of those, David. I guess I would go Kings. If we're fully healthy, I'm going Kings because our size is better than theirs. And
how are you even getting that matchup in the first round? They're vaulting into 5.
I don't know. Yeah, sure.
I don't see it, man.
All right. So what's your answer? Which of the teams currently in the top 8, who would you think is the easiest first round matchup?
This is going to sound crazy, but for me, I think it's the Timberwolves.
Really?
I think it's the Timberwolves. I don't love it as a first round matchup, but if that's the second round matchup, I would say the Clippers are definitely making another Western Conference final appearance.
But this is first round matchup.
I'm just saying. I like it in the first round matchup, love it in the second round.
I don't know how that happens in the first round. Your scenario sounds more improbable than mine. But I'm going Kings. A couple other people said Kings too.
The Timberwolves offense just isn't for real, and they still have despite having vets on the team, that despite Karl Anthony Towns been in the league for so long, I'm serious. It's not a serious team.
JNCTN Junction says, "Give me that Dallas smoke." I don't know if I'm ready for that.
No, I love it.
Oh man,
I love it.
That would be some good basketball. My heart would explode, but it would be some good basketball.
Give us all your guards. You got a team that completely revolves around guards. Let's go.
Let's do it. Let's be the big team. That's what would be nice. We would be the big team against the Kings and the Mavs.
Okay, so Ben is saying, I have no faith in the Pels. Can't see them winning 4. I weirdly really do not want to play them in the first round.
I don't want to. Well, historically,
the Pelicans-Clippers matchup has not been very favorable for us.
They're big.
That's, without Zion healthy even. So
I say, and they're big. It's a real problem. Ex-Mongo Project or Jeremy Morin says, I can't with Dallas anymore. Well, so the question was, I don't want to play the Lakers in the first round at all.
Well, it's because Luka always spanks the Clippers. We all know that.
Sure, yeah. Historically, those individual games. Anything else you want to touch on before we head out? I'm feeling so good after this win. I need to go get a hot dog.
Hot dog?
Yeah, from the people outside.
Yeah.
All right. I think we're about to head out. Thank you to everyone for hanging out on the stream. Oh, wait. Chaizong is talking. This is not possible. There was the talk about Herm Jones being traded, which Adam Oslin does not believe, which I think is so funny. But yeah, Herb Jones would be a Clippers villain. I love Herb Jones's game, but he would rip our hearts out. JJ the boy saying victory, Glizzy. That's exactly what I'm going to go do. It's going to be bacon wrapped with onions and peppers. Everyone knows what's happening right now. I'm going to have heartburn later. It's been great. Adam Oslin usually sends us out with something positive, but I'm going to put that on Will Updike. Let's get something positive before the 7-game road trip.
Look, it was a nasty win, but at the end of the day, it's still a win. I'm expecting the Clippers to not look at their peak through some of this road game, but iron sharpens iron, baby, and they're going to be all the better for it when they return home in February. Let's go, Clips. Hope to see you all at the next game.
Hell yeah, hope to see you.
Let us know if you'd like to hop on the post-game stream. Let us know.
Yeah, it's a good time. Congrats to Kawhi, PG, and Harden for being in the U.S. Olympic player pool. We're going to be back with a full pod with Adam tomorrow or Thursday. We don't really know. Reviews and subscribes always help. Thank you all so much in the chat. Thank you so much for watching this later.